Hello, I'm Debbie Iannaci, and I'm here at the GBTA broadcast studio. Joining me today is Eugene Tan, General Manager, Sales and Client Value Management, Asia for Corporate Travel Management. Welcome, Eugene.
Thank you.
It's great to have you join us today.
Yeah, likewise, it's my honor.
Good.
Yep.
Well, let's talk a little bit. We're here at the Asia Pacific GBTA conference, and there's been a lot of discussion about kind of where we are as an industry, and even especially here in the Asia Pacific region. So, when we think about what we are calling now, I guess, the post-pandemic era, we've seen a lot of changes to how business is done, how travel happens, and really what people want. So what are the key changes you're seeing in traveler behavior, specifically, maybe even in light of or after the fact of the COVID times?
Right. So I think, like you mentioned, right, so this is a post-pandemic, 3 years in the pandemic itself, we do see quite a bit of changes. I think, first of all, it's the duration of the travel, all right? Nowadays, right, a lot of business travelers are doing longer trips. Okay, there's various factors, right? First of all, we also have to be mindful that the suppliers, the airline sites, right, they are still trying to get back to the capacity pre-COVID, right? So because of that, at the same time, is also some elements of cost considerations, right? Nowadays, they're actually doing longer trips, okay. And the other thing what we realize is that the trips itself, right, there's also some elements of leisure. All right, so some, like yesterday, some of them was talking about blended travel, or in this part of the world, we call it B leisure, business.
Yeah, is that what you? Okay, great.
Business and leisure itself, right? Yeah. So they try to maximize the trip, so it's a longer trip. And then the other thing that what we realize is that there's a lot more attention with regard to the well-being of the travelers. So I think it's not just from a traveler's perspective. It's also from the corporate perspective itself, right? It's like, try to reduce, the number of red-eye flights, try to reduce, going into the personal time when you're doing the business trips, so the well-being is actually, well looked after, and they want to incorporate into the travel program as well. I think lastly, the other thing was really feeling the impact itself is that I think business travelers, right, because they are road warriors, right? They travel a lot, okay? And the thing is that unfortunately, right, we are seeing a lot of climate change, and the thing is that it's like, just recently, right, there is actually a black rainstorm in Hong Kong, right? So the team, our team was actually trying to, do those rescheduling and all those, right? And it's not just unique to one part of the world or one part of the city, right? So that raised the awareness of environmental impact, right? The business travelers feel it, because it affects their travel, right? And that, actually help the corporate when they are driving that sustainability strategies within the corporations itself, which, will cascade down, how the travel program is run by the travel team itself. So I think, in terms of that, right, all in all, right, so you have a situation whereby it's longer trips, right? Travelers as well as companies are more mindful about the well-being of the travelers itself. And the other thing is that now you have travelers, right, that are specifically looking for green choices when they are traveling. Yeah.
Right. And I always say, and there's always something happening in the world that affects travel. It just depends where you're at and what you're talking about. And that's a big, consideration along with the other factors you said. So when, corporations are thinking a lot about all the areas that you talked about. So can you share a little bit about what CTM does in terms of, helping corporations with different approaches in light of this new traveler behavior or even preferences?
Right. So interestingly, right, one of the key value propositions of CTM, right, it's we do deliver, while we have the technologies itself, we do deliver personalized services. And that it's a bit more relevant, right, post-pandemic, because of all these changes that we need to do to the bookings for the travelers because of extreme weathers, longer trips whereby the itinerary is a bit more complicated. So that's why I think that's where, together with technologies, right, we bring in the elements of personalized services, right, getting the team, right, to actually, look into more details of the booking itself. So that is the part whereby, CTM, we are continuing to do that, all right, and in fact it's doing more. All right, and the other thing that what we do in CTM is that we do believe in having a full control of the whole booking process of our business traveler. So in a way, right, short of a better word, the one-stop shop. So in other words, right, whether is it from a booking process or whether is it from a visa application process itself, right, everything will be a single point of contact going through CTM itself, so that we have a full control of the booking process. Should there be any emergency situation or extreme weather that we need to do some deviations or amendments, everything will be handled, within CTM itself. So I think that's the part whereby, whereby we are doing a lot more, to address to those key changes in terms of the traveling patterns post-pandemic.
Right, and again, things are so holistic these days. When you think about the traveler on any given journey and what they either are feeling, what they may face, or how that gets handled or managed is so critical. And I think a lot of travelers I know, as a leisure traveler myself, who likes to do longer trips, all the kind of areas you covered, I know that is so critical. And even again, the interesting thing is we move through the industry over time, we see all these nuances and changes happening, not only across the ecosystem and the different players. So being a travel manager today is probably not the easiest thing to do, because again, more complexities, more desires, more preferences. So what should travel managers be thinking now if they're, as they're designing their travel programs for kind of this new era of business travel that we're in?
Yeah. So this is a part whereby there's a lot of changes, not just about the traveling patterns itself. I think over time across the different supplier industries, right, whether it's from an airline perspective or hotel perspective, right, there's a lot of changes as well, right? So just for me to quote a few, right, NDC. Right, the new distribution channels, right, that airlines nowadays, right, is talking about, right, offering the contents, right, directly to the consumers, right, that actually trigger, some relook at the travel program. How do we actually cater for this fair content itself? How do we actually work with our TMC partner, to actually do that itself? So that's one areas, right, which today a lot of travel managers is trying to grapple with, and the thing is that because it is a kind of a new technology, in a sense that because every airlines have a different roadmap to how they're going to offer this NDC content itself, so it's kind of complicated. You don't have a uniform standard. Of course, there's a uniform standard in delivering, but everyone is in a different path of the advancement in terms of offering the NDC content to business travel. So that's one. And then the other thing is really related to the first question, right? Climate change, right? So now you bring into attention a lot more on sustainability, right? And the thing is that now the travelers, right, is mindful, right? They're open to it, right? It's like today, right? You have more than 70% of buyers, right, or travelers, will be open to actually, booking a greener choice, right? Take into attention, if possible, I will choose an alternate mode of transport, right, as compared to, with lower emissions itself. So definitely there will be a elements of how do you actually incorporate this sustainability principle into the travel program itself. But at the end of the day, travel program doesn't operate in silo. It had to be, sync with the overall corporate strategies itself. And in a way, when we say sustainability, it's not just sustainability in travel, right? When a corporation look at it, right, it is actually like you mentioned, right, a holistic approach, right? So how do we actually sync it back, to the company's ESG initiatives? So I think those are the new things as well as critical components, right, in today's world, right, that travel manager will have to spend a little bit more time with the various partners, the suppliers, the TMC partners, right, to work on those itself.
Right. Well, there's never a dull moment in travel, that's for sure.
Yep.
Eugene, you've shared such great insights today, so I just wanted to thank you for joining us here.
No problem. My pleasure. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us here at the GBTA Broadcast Studio.